we may spend some, maybe we may prolong the video. So I just want to start on time, unlike the one we just the previous broadcast. So please join me as we move on. Don't forget to like the video, comment, and tell us what you think about what we are discussing. You can contribute if you want. You may decide to call on the program today. If you want to talk, maybe you want to share something with us, just let me know, then I'll make the line available for you to call through WhatsApp, free call, so you don't need to waste your airtime. So guys, this broadcast is all about what is going on currently in Nigeria, not only in Nigeria, and the professor of Mazda Modekano. Mazda Kano said in the past that time will come when mainstream leaders, people that are waiting for Biafrans to beg them to talk about Biafrans, to talk about what our people are going through, that they will do it willingly. And the whole thing is unfolding, just like what he said that Tinubu will become president and all that. Everything has happened. So in this live broadcast, we are not going to, focus on one thing only. We are going to discuss many things as we move forward. But some of those things is all about the current state of Nigeria, not only the current state, but what they are trying to do, the struggle, their effort to make things work. And just like, we have it on this video title, on the title of the video, we made it clear that after 60 years, okay, for more than 60 years, after more than 60 years, they are still struggling to find a name and flag to use. It's laughable because when you want to, in fact, this is what you can get when you are doing something that that is wrong. I mean, something that is not in existence. You want to create something, at least you need to be that kind of creative. You bring out your skill, your effort. You don't just do something because you want to do it and you think it will work just like that. Many things are wrong. Many things are very, very wrong when it comes to Nigerian state. And it's not about, that you hate anybody. Because when we talk about it, some people will say, oh, when Palace, I see you. You are the first person to comment. Nice to see you. You are here again. Thank you so much, my brother. So it's not as if we hate any tribe or anybody. And some people are taking it personal, Nigeria does not belong to anybody, right? It belongs to a group of people, not an individual. And people that want to take it personal are people that should know. In fact, people that are supposed to know better, but they choose not to. Guys, as you join me in this live broadcast, I expect you to like the video. Just click on the like button. Click on the like button so that others will join us as we move forward. If you are the type that when somebody talk about the current state of Nigeria, if you are the type that take it personal, that want to, why must you say that? You are insulting my beloved country. My dear, you are wrong. Nobody hates Fulani people as a nation. Nobody hates Hausa people as a nation. Nobody hates Yoruba people. And I expect you not to hate Igbos as a nation as well. We may have different beliefs, different, language, culture, everything. And that's why somebody like us are saying the best way to do is to stay in your house. Let's just separate and we can do business together. It does not mean that you don't. Fulani will not live in our land if they are law-abiding citizens, law-abiding Fulanis, they can live. The same thing our people. If you choose to live in Fulani land, just go there. If they have Sharia law there, you obey the Sharia law. If you don't want to obey it, then you relocate. That's the best way to live. Like some of us we know countries like South Korea, North Korea, Yemen, Afghanistan, US, Canada. Those countries, there's something that you expect to do while you are living. If you are there, there are some things you're supposed to do. The way you carry yourself, the way you present yourself differs. It must not be the same. It's not must not be the same. So before I delve into this properly, I just want to share with us this short clip. It's not a short clip, it's a 10-minute video, but we are not going to play it all because I want to focus on the current situation of Nigeria. You know how they are struggling to change the national anthem, how they're struggling to change the flag and the name. And I will tell you how those things started. It all started since 2014. Some of you may say, no, it's a lie. You are just forming. I have told us many times that Mas Namadu Kano, student. In fact, let me not use the word student. Graduate from University of Mas Namadu Kano are more in numbers than entire graduate in Nigeria. I mean, graduate that can defend and present something out, that can, bring out something, ideas, innovation, and all that. Mas Nnamdi Kanu produce more students that you can trust than entire university in Nigeria. Let me go straight to this, then we can now continue what we are talking about. Okay, excuse me, guys, hold on. Okay, guys, sorry about that. I have to attend to something very, very important. I have to respond to something very, very important. So, like as I was saying, let me not just waste much of your time. So, let's start with this. All right, let's start with this because this program is not going to be, I don't want it to be boring. So, let's start with what we have.
Referendum, they're not needed. If you, honestly, you don't need me in your space, give me what I want so that I can remain adamant that probably is not going to allow this. He said the unity of Nigeria is non-negotiable. That clearly indicates that he's not going to relent in his push to silence any voice of dissenting as far as that position is concerned. So which way forward to heal the divide between or amongst the Nigerians, especially on Biafra crisis? The best thing is to ask them what they want. I remember.
Now they are discussing, so these people are discussing Biafra. Now they're discussing about the way forward. What must happen? What Biafrans actually want, and the reason why they want what they want. These are, some of you know this TV station is being owned by, I think, is it David Motanga, something like that. Here they discuss a lot of issues concerning Africa and the continent. So it's not a mainstream media that people will say, okay, it's just they are content creators, and no, they know what they're doing. I think they covered many issues in Africa, so they are not discussing about Mas Nnamdi Kanu and what is going on. So let's continue to hear from them.
One time, Professor Wole Soyinka said, if we can continue fighting Biafrans for such a long time, it's not long before we go to war, which is actually happening right now. Why don't we ask them what they want? And for sure,
which is actually what is happening now. Somebody from other African countries can see what the US and some people are arguing about. They know but my people that are doing this, they know what is going on. The intelligent people know what is going on. They can see the handwriting on the wall. And somebody from our neighbor failed to see what people from afar are discussing. Just for you to know the length some people can go, just for them to bring out, blackmail and show their hatred on somebody, they can do anything.
They have voiced and they have said it that they want referendum. Why? Because for a long time, they do not have a mutual understanding with the rest of the Nigeria nation. They are not understood. They are marginalized for such a long time. They're not wanted by the rest of the Nigerian government. So the best thing is to take them to a referendum so that we know exactly what they want and separate them if that is exactly what they want. Why? Because if we continue like this, these are crises not only in Nigeria, but it will have a ripple effect to the bordering countries. And with time, it will have a big effect to the African countries. As a continent, as I'm talking, Africa has the largest immigrants to the world. It has the largest refugees to the rest of the continents. What?
Now, like I told you earlier, that this station that touches on issues concerns Africa, which is very, very nice. All right. And one thing I love about them is that they don't bring sentiment in their analysis. They always pick the information and hit it the way it is. No need to paint because the owner of the station is not the kind of person that favors. I am in good time with Obasanjo, and I wouldn't want to discuss anything that Obasanjo would not like to hear. I am in good time with Wolo Soyinka. I must be careful what I say. No, they don't do that. They focus on the issue. As you can see, they're discussing about the Biafran issue and Mazda Kano. This is another prophecy Mazda Kano, being fulfilled. So this is one of them, and most of us are not. We don't need to say we are not aware of what Mazda said in the past. But when those mainstream media will start knocking at the door to make sure, asking for an interview to have more access to what concerns the Biafrans, to know, what is issue, how to carry it out, and how to go about it. This is what I'm discussing here. So, like I said, we are not going to play it for a long time. Let me play it one more time, then move to another thing.
Is that so? It's because of such crises that we can see in Biafra and Amazonia and other countries like Sudan. So I think before we even move forward, it's very important that we give all their given referendum. From there, they can be able to sort out the rest of the challenges. And it's quite unfortunate because we have diplomatic missions in Nigeria. Why can't they take that issue with them and sort it out? Why are they quiet? Why is the world quiet when Biafrans are suffering? Why is the world quiet when we know very well that such issues can affect the whole of the African continent? It's quite sad, and that's why as Punchline Africa TV will continue talking to the world and saying that these people need a referendum. They're not needed. If you don't need me in your space, give me what I want so that I can self-govern myself, which I think it's a good way and a diplomatic way of allowing people to go their way.
That would be good. Coupled with that, I would like you to approach it from a different angle altogether. What probably could have informed this agitation for, of course, separation, for a referendum to go separate ways between, of course, Nigeria and the people of Biafra? Let's approach it from that angle as you and ask ourselves, what probably can we do to see into it that we find a healing in this debate?
Now, before this guy continue, because I wanted to end the broadcast, this video to move to another issue. But the question that the guy asked here is very interesting. But before then, let's ask ourselves this question: if PM is not here today doing what he's doing after kidnapping of Mazda, do you really think that people will be discussing about Biafra, considering the activities and the works of the US and their members at the moment? Are we going to hear people discussing issue of Biafra, ask for referendum, talking about Biafra in the war stage? Because this station is not about. This is not from. They are not another TV station like Channels TV, like Arise News and all that. This political media space. No, these are an independent broadcasters. They know what they're doing. They talk about issue that concerns Africa. Like what the lady said here, that seeing what is happening in Biafran land today, it may affect neighboring countries, and Brazilians are doing their own. Look, everybody wants to be free. It's not as if people from, for example, Oduduwa people, it's not as if they're happy with the current situation of the country, the way the economy and everything is going, or even from get-go, after independence, it's not as if they are happy. Now, the question is, without Mazi PM Simon Ekpa, without Biafran government in exile cabinet members, without you that are listening to me, Biafrans that know what it takes, what you want, and what you wish to have, without the effort that everybody is doing, focusing to and contributing in a little way we can, do you think that people will be discussing about Biafra today? Even the name of Master, it will take by grace of God for them to mention his name, because the agenda is to repeat what they have done, because they are using the same mechanism they use on Wazurike. That was the template they dished out, to use it to nail Mazamagano and shut him off forever. And some people like Ijele and other people are encouraging them to do more, because yes, we know how people do it. Nobody like China Saworu did. He said in his recent broadcast that after buying Mazamagano, it will only take a few months. People talk and it just die off. That is a signal, just like our brother that called us yesterday in our program said, it's a signal to Nigerian government, look, you can do this and nothing will happen. What is the difference between what Ijele said, asking government to buy Oyendu, and what China Saworu said? And when you check on your Twitter, you see some of them faceless people writing a very long peaceful note, criticizing and attacking. But people of the world know who is who. Now, we are going to move to what this guy said before we now bring out Pete and Bass issue. Then after that, we now go straight to the issue at hand, which is what Nigerian people, what I mean by that, I mean the so-called elder spokesperson, the leaders of the country, people that are that know what Nigerians want, and what their discussion about changing the national anthem and whatever they think because everybody is now bringing out ideas or how to push this spoil vehicle forward to make sure that this vehicle will start again. Everybody is okay, let's push it forward, let's push it backward. Everybody are throwing their suggestion. Some think that the problem of Nigeria is national anthem. Some believe that the problem is a flag. Some also believe that not even the flag, not even national anthem, but the name. So a lot of people are, even some of them are championing the spiritual aspect of it and all that. But we are going to, discuss it in this live broadcast. That's why I said this program may be more longer than as usual, but I will try my best to, minimize it. Let's see.
Yeah, I think it's paramount to understand that for starters, there was no redemption, and the word you just...
Armstrong, I see you. So if I don't call your name, please don't be angry.
In 1967, the 3 years fighting. And if you remember very well, there was a brief period where they got their independence, and then the Nigerian military decided to send all the planes to just bomb indiscriminately anybody who was found in that region. And those scars are passed on in what is called transgenerational trauma. You don't even have to tell your child about this. It's something that affects most African countries. You don't really need to tell your child, hate this person or hate this person, but the way you behave and the way you talk about these things and the tone with which you use, your children pick that, and then they grow up with that. They send it to their children and their children's children, and each generation comes forth understanding their history and knowing very well that we are the people who have been marginalized in a country where we are one of the most, we are creating profit. We're bringing GDP, one of the highest rates of GDP. We're bringing the largest group of intelligent people. We're bringing the largest group of talented people. And yet we are the people who are not benefiting from all this. And this crisis goes on in most of the countries that we are finding, in the African continent with protests currently like Amazonia and Ethiopia. If you bring in another angle of how the Nigerian government has been dealing with this agitation, I believe, or I think, if they were to avoid the situation that they're finding themselves in, they really should have addressed the issue of why there was a Biafran war. There was a Biafran war, rather, in the first place. As it is, they are taking the Paul Biya approach of assuming everything is fine because we're in Lagos, while everything is not fine. People continue to die. You continue to apply the colonial methodology of handling protests, and that is arresting people arbitrarily, disappearing people arbitrarily. For a very long time, we don't know where Nnamdi Kanu is. That should not happen in this day and age. For a very long time, I don't know how many Biafrans have disappeared, how many have run from their homes, fearing persecution or fearing death. And very old, very archaic way of dealing with these protests. Most of these African governments could have benefited and could have avoided this crisis if they came forth and asked the people, what is it we can do for you? Where did we go wrong? How can we institute healing to begin in the Biafran region to start with? How can we make sure that we set up, even if it's a ministry, or talk to the Ministry of Devolution, because Nigeria was one of the countries that started the federal system in Africa, and yet you have people with no roads. It makes zero sense, and that is a very it's a very bad conviction on the evolution in Africa.
Okay, just to add something to what this brilliant man is saying here, he made a very, very vital point. To make things work in Africa, in Nigeria, for example, where we have witnessed what is going on there, it doesn't take a rocket science. Let me say this, because it is even more easy to make it, to bring everything to make it, more habitable. If they really want to do it after the Nigerian Civil War. One of those things is this: remove the mentality that you conquered anybody, because that is why they choose to. They are doing it deliberately to make sure that Southeast is not developed, because back on their mind they see you as a conquered people, and a conquered nation, anything goes. Then they will now come back and pretend to you, oh, let's laugh together, let's have, eat together, let's dine and wine, let's celebrate, we are one Nigeria. And because you are being told that you cannot do anything, that they have just conquered you and your father. So best thing to do is to make sure that do all you can do to push the country forward. After pushing and struggling to do that, some of us from eastern part, like Oyeko from Biafran land, and other people that are musicians, they were releasing a very nice song. Somebody like somebody, what's the name of this? That lady that have a golden voice, Oyeko Wene, and there's another lady that sang a very nice. She's a very she's very, very good in what she do. I think let me remember her name. These two people, for example, and many other people, they started trying to do something that will make Nigeria to work, believing that, look, let's pass the past, let's just wave things away and further ahead. But the people that you are dealing with, they have in their own mentality, they see you as they have conquered you. All this you are doing, you can't make anything from them, because to them you are not supposed to be here. They have you now because they were able to defeat you. That's the mentality. And there's no way you can make things work in that kind of environment. Like it would have been more easier for them to unify everything, even if they want to change the name of Nigerian and all that. But one of the things that made them not to succeed in, even if they want to, like what I said now, if they have chosen to do that, it would have been the best thing. But before the war, there was a problem before the war in the first place, because the war did not just wake up nobody just wake up and start a war. Something triggered that war. Before the war, what was the mindset of the people? The mindset was Fulani people having the agenda that they need to advance more. Not only, they don't want to end in Hausa land. And that was what led to coup. And that coup led to civil war. And the mentality keep on changing, and instead of them to even delete and remove it from their mindset, they're having more reasons to, advance their original ideology. Whereas our people are being deceived that after war you have no choice than to, blend with the system, to work together and make sure that one Nigerian is best thing for us. Some of us believe this thing, and very, very unfortunate for us. People that know why they went for war, why the coup took place and everything, did not even educate our people. the children from Biafran land to know. Instead, our history started from war, but nobody told us why coup in the first place. Why is it that Igbo soldiers got involved in the coup, and what was the problem? What was the role of Igbo soldiers before the coup? What were they doing in the southwest? What was the Fulani people intention in the southwest, in the middle belt? What were they doing, and who stopped them? Who is the problem of Fulani people? These are things we need to ask ourselves, and those things, link to what we are facing today. It's not as if we are free from that. We have captured our knowledge and our everything. That we have solved it. We now know our problem. We still have a lot of people in our midst that are still wallowing in darkness, believing that the one Nigerian is the best. And not only that is best, that people that are asking for freedom are troublemakers. The same issue that people before Civil War, people like Zeke, had with Ojukwu. If not, how old is Ijele? To mention or start telling in national TV that had they been the punish Ojukwu, that we wouldn't have been here discussing as if Ojukwu was the problem. What about the problem that Ojukwu wanted to solve? Because Ojukwu did not just wake up one day and say, okay, let me go and declare Biafra because I have power to do that. That something happened. Can we discuss about it? These are things they try to avoid. They don't want to talk about it. They want to start talking about to calm agitation. That's what they normally say, to calm agitation. But can you pay attention to why agitation in the first place? Why are people agitating? The same problem, for you to know that Fulani did not even move an inch from the ideology. Let me tell you this, because if they have any rethink to change their ideology and the mentality, they wouldn't have advanced what they're doing to other parts of the country. Let's assume that you are doing it on Igbo people because you conquered Igbo, right? For you to know, they still have in the back of their mind, they still have the original ideology, which is to take over the whole nation. First of all, they would lie to Yoruba people. Oh, bring gun, let's go and deal with Igbo people. They buy us in the queue. Yoruba people just march out and play the game together with them. And after playing the game together with them, what next? They now move from Igbo, they are now attacking Yorubas. Because the original template is to take over. No matter how you sound, no matter how friendship we are, we after using you to conquer others, we see you come and use others to conquer you. That is the agenda. Today, they are in Yoruba forest. They are in Bini people. They are there. Those kingdoms. Benue, the same thing. Of course, nobody is talking about Hausa people. Their own is they have gone forever. There is no way Hausa will be free anymore. It's not possible. It is not possible. That one is bye-bye. So we are going to allow this man to say something again, then we can move to another thing. Because if we are to analyze this video, this one alone, it will take us the whole day.
As it is, I think the onus is on the Nigerian government, first of all, to understand why there was a Biafran war in the first place, understand why it still goes on, ask the people what they want, and as it is right now, if they asked the people 10 years ago, the needs will be different, because right now all they want is a referendum. All they want is a referendum, and if they get that referendum, they're going to get out of Nigeria. They're going to vote and ratify that they need to be separate from Nigeria. The thing that the federal government of Nigeria fears about this is because they'll lose most of their resources and they'll lose most of their manpower and that skilled labor. This is something they should have addressed, to prevent the anthills building a mountain. Yeah.
Even this man knows the importance of Biafrans in Nigeria. But you see some people from Duduwa or Hausa people or Fulani people from other tribes, they will hide it behind their keyboard. Oh, you guys are the problem of Nigeria. You guys are causing nuisance. What do you bring? What do you contribute in Nigeria? When I read that kind of thing, I will be laughing, because some of them don't even know how Nigeria generates their money. All they know is that there's oil in Nigeria Delta. To them, the only oil in Nigeria is Nigeria Delta. And that's why they focus, they pay more attention to tell you that Niger, oh, Igbos are different from Niger Delta. You're not, there's no way you can claim that you have oil, and the owner of the oil well to tell you that they know what they're doing are all Fulanis, together with a few Yoruba people, but it's being controlled by Fulani people who don't even have any strangers controlling the indigenous people. When you talk, they say you are trying to bring ethnic war. You are trying to divide. That's why they are doing everything to name us non-American today. So, but the truth needs to be told so that you'll be able to solve the problem. Because without it, you don't know where your problem is. You have to pay attention to the issue at hand for you to be able to solve it.
I like that you said if probably the federal government of Nigeria will have asked the people of Biafra what they want 10 years ago, things would have been different. Maybe the needs would have been different, but as it is today, the only call, and it remains so, is referendum and nothing short of it. Let me hear from Linda Alela what you have to say about it. How can we heal the divide?
You see, these people also understand that if 10 years ago, if you ask Biafrans, the number of people that would have voted against referendum, okay, they are now turned, they have come to understand, they have come to the realization that as time goes on, Biafra will win more voters. That's not the fact. 3 years ago, even 2 years ago, or even last year, before the election, okay, before the election, if Biafra that would have voted for independence, for Biafra, in favor of Biafra, let's assume maybe if the Biafra would have gotten 2 million that time. Now, Biafra that we vote against it, we vote in favor of Biafra now is 9, from 2 to 9 million, because the election opened many people's eyes. And why Nigerian government and they're called the caretakers, because none of them are owner of Nigeria. The owner of Nigeria is in Britain. Those caretakers are celebrating they have done a very good job to prove to Inyamiri that is it Inyamiri or whatever Inyamiri that they don't belong here. They are only noise makers. That's why you see someone like Esema that's that looks like somebody that eats raw meat. Will be telling you, oh, the developer. A lot of them are very, very abusive. Why? They knowing fully well that they are doing wrong thing. They know that they are at fault. Yet they are adding it abusive comment. Anyway, let's continue. Let's continue.
In Nigeria also with the Biafra crisis.
All right. Thank you so much, Tawish, of course, the rest of the panel and the viewer. I've just gone an extra mile to try and understand all this crisis. It's a bit of history in Nigeria. And the Biafra problem is more than meets the eye. And it has gone to a level whereby I would say, it's a point of no return. I was looking to some report, or maybe at some reports that were suggesting that maybe in the year 2023 or years to come, Nigeria is likely to split even more into not just having Biafra, and this is the end, but a couple of others, around 6 states. Yes, over 6 states. So that is to tell you there's a big problem in Nigeria, not just in Biafra land. Maybe the few people of Biafra have realized how capable they are. They are learned to a level whereby they know very well that they can govern themselves. They have tried in the federal system. They have traditional and local leaders where you find the Igwes, and they realize how possible it is for them to be able to work out things as a people. They enjoy the numbers, the people of Biafra. You know very well that they have a huge population that can literally actually form and sustain a country for that matter. There's the question of resources, proper resources coming from the region of Biafra, talking about the Igbo, of course, talking about the oil, that of course the external hand has major interest on. So then when you look at the question of Biafra, you start asking yourself, what is ailing Nigeria at large? Is it the problem with leadership? And if it is so, then it is not just the leadership of Buhari. This is leadership that has failed right from the word go, right from the previous governments that have been in place. But it is always incumbent upon the existing government to address some of these issues, to address some of these key issues. So when there is proper agitation for that matter, it is absurd to come out and, label these people as a militant organization, as opposed to sitting down as the president and trying to understand why is it that these people now want out, and moving forward, if giving them out would be a solution, why not? Why don't we just organize a referendum for them to vote whether they're going to succeed or not? Then we get to know the way moving forward. So as we speak right now, I think it's almost impossible or very hard to actually govern a country that is affiliated in lines with tribe, in lines with language, in lines with religion. It becomes very difficult. And even worse is that, you as a person would always find yourself lying in supporting the side that you belong. And I think that is what Buhari has portrayed for a long time, that he's failed to look at the...
So that is the end of the video. We have managed to play it to the end because I love what they're saying, to be honest with you. I have not watched this video at all. I have not watched it at all. I just want to, because when I saw it, I know the owner of the platform, David Mazanga, and I don't know if he's the owner or he's just one of the key owner. Many people have commented. Please bear with me because I will go through some of them later. Diane, I see you. Okay, OC, I see you, and Erin, I see you guys. Please, you are not Gail. Yes, most of you are regular commentators, and Ostina TV, I see you. So please, I will not have time to go start reading the comments. Maybe I will do that later. The issue here is this: when you hear people pretending that everything is all right, you don't need to talk about. You don't talk about Nigeria. Is like in the word of Buhari, he said that it's not negotiable. It's not negotiable. The only thing that they want is to look for who to, buy, and that's why they tell you it's not negotiable. Just to buy people. And they believe that if they buy you, if they buy person, the person will, others will learn from that. To them, that's the best way to
remain adamant that probably is not going to allow this.
The best way
the unity of
the best way to address the issue is to just buy people and create fear in the mind of others, and that is it. That is what they want. To them, that is the only solution. But we are not going to pretend that we don't know what is going on. Now, let me jump to issue of Peter Mba. I have a very long note that people post, a lot of comment, a lot of write-up, a lot of, comment, everybody are saying their own, what they feel. This man called Peter Mba, governor of Enugu State. In this life, some people learn in a different way. Some people learn from what happened to other people. Some people learn from what they think that may happen to him if they do this kind of thing. Some also don't wait to see when this thing happens to people. They use the initiative and they see what you can do, and they avoid it on time. They make sure that they move away from it on time. But some people are very adamant. Some people don't care. They want to see what you can do. They want to test your strength before they can now start paying attention, start respecting you. So everybody is wired a different way. But issue of Peter Mba is to me is showing me some concern, because Enugu State is known for one of the most peaceful places in the southeast. One of the most peaceful. That's why some people think that people of Enugu State they're not serious. They're inconsequential when it comes to Biafra agitation, or maybe they are just follow what other people say. They are good. They are very law abiding. You understand? But Peter Mba should know better. And the annoying part is that he's not a new person in Nigerian politics. This is somebody that worked under Chimaroke Naman. Then the previous governor was not like this. I have not seen a video of him criticizing State, even though maybe he will be doing it behind the camera by sending some army to do one or two. But they have not flooded the street of Enugu State to force to force people to come out to disobey at home. The same thing that so-called people that are fighting for Biafra are criticizing the Biafran government in Israel PM for, criticizing them that they are forces at home. But when they see governor forcing people to come out to disobey at home, they kept quiet. Meaning that the idea they have and what they want is in line with what governors want, to destroy at home. And to them, what they gain from that is to make sure that to brag that people don't respect the federal government, exile or PM. But those ones is a thing of the past because Biafra have proved many times that they care and they love PM. They love what the federal government exile. So what they are not doing, Peter Mba is not doing today, he's trying to make sure that he proves to everybody that he is a Hitler. Even though, we always, some of us believe that Hope Uzodinma is the problem. But to be honest with you, I'm not seeing Peter Mba as one of the most dangerous person that if Biafrans are ignored. Biafrans are ignoring him because you know what we saw what he did to when he locked some shops up and start demanding some payment from the business owners, forcing them to come out to trade, to disobey it at home. We know how the whole thing happened. But the issue now is this. He did it before and nobody questioned him. I think he felt so it was easy for him. Nobody challenged him. He acted those nonsense unchallenged. And that's why he's using the same template. Why I'm saying that is because this is at home today and tomorrow and next tomorrow. He is now pushing people to come out. He called the army to flood the street again, to start mounting roadblock, to that kind of thing, to put people under threat because he wants people to come to work. He want everybody. He don't want to witness anything sit at home. Even the one that is not for release of Mass Namorkan, he's now fighting the one of that sit at home that Biafrans have been observing for a very long time to honor heroes of Biafrans, those who sacrificed, who paid ultimate price, those who have done like Ojuku of this world and other people, Biafran soldiers, and you know what I'm talking about, to pay respect. He's now forcing people to come out and disobey. So, do I blame him? No, because the one he did, it was so easy for him to do that. And I'm calling on Biafran government in exile to look into Enugu State to see what the problem is, because our people need to be carried along in many ways. I'm not saying that they should just keep quiet and allow soldiers to start intimidating our youth, kidnapping them, because that would be the next thing. Flooding soldiers on the streets of Enugu simply means that we have opened the door for soldiers to do their business. Like the video that I showed, we played yesterday, where a Fulani woman is telling, they asked her, how is your Fulani business? She said no, she's no longer doing into Fulani business. That God has blessed, God has put smile on their face with her husband. The husband got a job now that's called kidnapping job, that she cannot go to. What she do now, they just come to town to eat and drink whatever they want and do shopping and go back. She don't stress herself selling any Fulani anymore. That her husband has made fortune. Everything is now moving fine. And they ask her, what is the work of this your husband? She said kidnapping. Why I'm bringing it that statement and that video now is because those people that Peter Mba is calling to safeguard the Enugu State in his own words are the people that have been pointing finger at them, that they are the one responsible, of kidnapping and protecting people that are doing illegal things in our land. And what Peter Mba knows this for a fact, that a lot of people are criticizing them on their activities and their work. Yet he don't see that as an issue. He keep on bringing them forward to do what? These are things we need to ask questions. We need to ask ourselves what is going on, because we cannot just keep quiet like that forever. So I just hope and pray that Biafra government in exile we look into that to know what is the problem in Enugu State and why Peter Mba is doing what he's doing. I don't want to hear any news that, 3 guys, 4 guys, I will take them and nobody know where they are, with their whereabouts, and nobody knows. So that kind of news, we need to do everything we can, everything in our reach to stop that kind of bad news. It's very, very bad, and it's not something that we should be proud of. Now, having said that, let's move to another issue. The issue here is this. I told us that they are discussing seriously on how to change national anthem of Nigeria. And why are they doing that? Remember, after the program that Mazakano did about the meaning of Nigeria, okay, a lot of them started discussing about how to change the name far back then. And shame did not allow them to proceed that, because Mazakano also laughed and said, look, they are now discussing this, and people were were kind of making mockery of them, that now if not the Masakan talked about it, that none of them wanted to say anything about it. Now they are not changing narrative. This man, you hear him, he claimed that he's the one that made that suggestion in the past in 2014, and that 2014 was the time Masakan did that broadcast that I'm talking about. So the issue here is, who gave them the idea of looking into the name Nigerian Act Saturday, and who gave them the idea to know the meaning of one Nigeria and the flag and the name? Do you understand? These are things they are not discussing. So let's listen to them where they are making that kind of a discussion and analysis. And the person in question here is the one that DOS and Biafran IPOB in Nigeria are praising his name, the one who claimed that he's defending Mazambican, at the same time receiving honorable award from the government that is challenging them in the courts. let me bring the video. Okay, now I'm going to flip the camera again. So this is it.
I, as a humble, patriotic pan-Nigerian,
excuse me,
I've always looked at these issues from that Nigerian perspective, how we can make our country better than it is now. Mr. President, sir, as far back as Wednesday, 2nd of July, 2014, that's 10 years ago, at the plenary session of the National Conference, I moved the motion for the change of our national anthem back to the one of 1960 on our independence. That motion was hotly debated by the 492 delegates at the National Conference, drawn from every spectrum of the Nigerian society. And it was carried. And indeed, nostalgically, the entire plenary session stood up and sang the old national anthem. So, bringing it back is well overdue. It has better lyrics in context and content, like the Senate President said. It is better than the other one. Indeed, I wrote a book, and my Senate President, I begin to think I'm in the court of law. I wrote a book titled 9jeria with AV, 401 pages, and it was launched at that national conference just before we ended in 2014. I have copies here, about 6, one for the Attorney General, and then you take one to the Senate President.
That is for you to know that all these people are students of Basna Morgan. That I wrote this book, I made an appeal to change this and change that. You got it from where? Masna Morgan. He's the one that, that broadcast that he did that time, shared the whole country. The whole Nigeria were, discussing it. But they don't know how to give Mazen Kano the glory, the praise. Now they decided to share it among themselves. This one quickly rush and write a book about it, just to claim the knowledge. But he's a graduate of Mazen Kano's University. Let's continue.
If I carry the rest to him, he now knows who to give to. I don't want to be accused of partiality. And Mr. President, sir, you will see my argument and my views at pages 268 to 271. So it didn't start today. So I therefore think that when we finally get to Canaan land, this body should be able to give some recognition and appreciation to the National Confab of 2014, chaired by late Justice Legbo Kutugi, with Professor Bolaji Akiyemi as the Deputy Chairman of the Confab. Let me say that it was not only
because this man is very, very much interested on anything award. He's now calling them to look. You need to recognize us. So we are the one that started this on 2014. But where did you get the knowledge from? All of a sudden, after how many years? All of a sudden, only 2014, because Mazen Kano made that broadcast. Some of us that followed Mazen Kano, we understand what I'm saying. You remember with the broadcast that he did, where he explained the meaning of Nigeria, Nigeria. So if you follow him, this thing that I'm saying now, it shouldn't be a something that you say, okay, I don't know. If you followed Mazen Kano, or then you will know what I'm talking about. He's not alone. Most of them were discussing it. So they started suggesting a United States. That's when you have the word you as United States of Nigeria. So we are not a newcomer. We know where you got this information.
The national anthem that I argue should be brought back, but that was the only one that said true. The other two matters I argue should be brought back was that the present Nigerian flag of simply green, white, green is too blunt. It's too blunt. It is not just in terms of lacking in colors, but it is not inspirational. If you look at some flags like that of the US, with the stripes and then the 50 stars representing the 50 states. If you look at the flag of South Africa, of the UK, you'll be able to see what I mean. The older flag had the rising sun in the center, which shoots to all the directions of Nigeria, north, south, east, and west. Not only that, the present flag is replicated in Norfolk. The only difference is that there's a pine in the center of that one. And indeed, the flag of the AU, African Union, is also the same green, white, green. The only difference is that you see some tiny, indecipherable stripes of yellow inside. I want to also say that coming back to our old national anthem, we will not be doing something different. Indeed, at that conference, I had also put a motion that we should change the name of Nigeria, which appears to be a burden because of the circumstances it came into being. 8 January 1878, when Flora Louisa Shaw, a young British journalist, gave her the name Nigeria after Nigeria. But both my proposals for the national, for the flag, and a return to change the name Nigeria from Nigeria to I regime, I made the proposal by reading it from right to left. So instead of Nigeria, let's call it I regime. But that one was shut down. The one of the flag was shut down. But the one of the national anthem was carried. So in the 40s, sir, I will soon round up. There was this debate, or rather a conversation between the great Zik of Africa, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, the great nationalist, unforgettable, and the great Ahmadu Bello, Sardauna of Sokoto. And in the argument, which was about 1942, Zik said to Ahmadu Bello, said, let us forget our differences. Ahmadu Bello disagreed, said, no, Zik, we cannot forget our differences. Let us understand our differences.
So this is where the problem started. Zik always want to think like Ekeneto Okonkwo. Let us forget our differences and do what? And bring everybody together. As if you are Chukwu Abraham. That you know things more than Chukwu, that God had created everybody differently and made everybody to be on your own territory. So Zik is saying, no, God, because I'm Zik of Africa, I want to bring everybody together. With the same mindset of Kenneth Okonkwo that we need more landmark, we need more space. I want somebody to explain to me why, among everybody in Nigeria, why most Igbo people think that they need more space than others. That's why we are where we are today. Zik was the one, because if you listen to what Ahmad Bello said, you also believe that he was not even a kind of interested in uniting anything, building a country. Ahmad Bello may want, maybe he wanted to have his own country in the north, and Zik keep on disturbing them. You know, we are the brothers and sisters. Let us have this thing together and work together. As if you have something to gain from that. Zik is a very big problem to our people, to be honest with you. If you check his activities, that's why the others are hailing him, oh, Zik of Africa, Zik of Africa. Zik of Africa, because he gave them opportunity to take you, to run you over. Zik of Africa.
And then know how to move forward. You are Igbo, Easterner, and a Christian. I am Fulani, Northerner, and a Muslim. So we cannot forget our differences. We should rather recognize our differences, see Nigeria as a pluralistic society, appreciate that we are different, and then we move forward. For example, sir, I am from a minority within a minority, from Ijuku, a tiny village near Agenebode, East local government area of Edo State. But I do not want to be a Yoruba man, or an Igbo man, or a Hausa man, or a Fulani man, or an Idoma man, a Igala man, Urobo man, because God, in His infinite wisdom, decided to create me from that village. And no one can question God. So you should be able to respect me for who I am and from where I come. Having this national anthem will help us. It has been done before in many countries. Countries that change their old national anthem to new one based on prevailing situations and circumstances. Austria, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Brazil, Bulgaria, Chile, Cape Verde, China, Egypt, France, Germany, Hungary, Iran, Iraq, South Korea, Kuwait, Mozambique, Netherlands, Niger, Pakistan, Portugal, Russia, Romania, Rwanda, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Switzerland, Turkey, USA, Vatican City, Vietnam, Zaire, Zambia, Zimbabwe, etc. At one time or the other, they changed their national anthem. I do agree with my brother here, representing the Honorable Minister, that in changing the national anthem, we should look more holistically at other issues to have a proper national identity. That is where my good friend, the Honorable Attorney General's suggestion also comes in handy. Do we end the debate now? I've always believed in a referendum, a plebiscite of the people. I've crusaded for that every day. Can we do this without the people buying in? The Constitution also comes in here, which is actually the national identity card of a nation, followed by the national anthem. What do you do about the Constitution? I do not agree, sir, that this piecemeal amendment of the Constitution will solve Nigeria's problem. Like Naaman the leper in the Bible, we need to dip ourselves several times in the River Jordan of Nigeria's polity to have a brand new constitution, a constitution that is original, indigenous, autochthonous, emanating from the people, because the people have bought in, like we did on the 10th of August 1963, after a plebiscite when the old Midwest region was carved out of Western region. So we need to look at that constitution, sir. And I've argued again and again that nobody is going to sidetrack the National Assembly, because whether we like it or not, the 109 senators and 360 members of the House of Representatives have come to stay. They do have a role. They have to pass an act to make sure that a new constitution is driven, after which it can be subjected to a national referendum of the people. So we should take all these things holistically so that Nigeria begins to have a full national identity, so that we do not continue to go on a journey to no destination without a compass. So as I end this, sir, looking at the beautiful lyrics and the meaning, I want you to listen to the meaning. Nigeria, we hail you, we greet you. Our own dear native land. Our own dear native land. This is our land. We don't have any other. Though tribe and tongue may differ, like Ahmadu Bello conversed with Nnamdi Azikiwe, we accept our tribe and tongue are different. But in brother, we stand. It didn't stop there. Nigerians, all of us.
Not only tongue and location is different, your culture also is different, your food is different, your belief, your ideology is different. That's why Zeke, upon all the education, upon all his level, all the nickname, guy name, title, everything, but only to make a common sense, he failed woefully. Even Ahmadu Bello, who did not even get to his level, we need to make a correction to him that even this man here is, buying the idea of Ahmadu Bello, that you need to respect where I come from. Like he said, he's from minority in the minority group. He's from Edo, which is minority. Then in Edo, his community is also from a minority group or minority community in Edo State. I mean, but he said one thing here in this present age, that he don't even want to identify himself as Yoruba man, not even Igbo man, not even Hausa man. He want to maintain where he come from, which is good. Then you want to maintain that, and at the same time, you also want to bring other people to answer what they are not, which is Nigeria. You see the hypocrite. You want to maintain, you don't want to answer Yoruba, you don't want to answer Igbo. Yes, fine. But you are now supporting people to form an identity that they are not. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. You agree that you don't want to identify yourself as an Igbo person. Fine, I respect that. You don't want to identify yourself as a Yoruba person. Of course, that is good. You don't want to identify yourself as a Hausa or Fulani person. Fine. At the same time, you are now preaching and championing idea of dragging every other person to one unified name. That just like I don't like to smoke. I don't like smoke. I don't like cigarette. But I want everybody. I want us to, all of us. I am recommending this smoke for all of us. But you don't like smoke. You don't like anybody that smoke. But you want you are not, I recommending one smoke for everybody. I don't sometimes anyway, let's see.
We are proud to serve our sovereign motherland. We are proud to serve our sovereign motherland. The second stanza that Senate leader suggests should be the national pledge. He said, our flag, the flag we are saying should be changed now, shall be a symbol. Can you see the meaning of a flag, the importance? That truth and justice reign. Truth and justice. Remember, conscience is an open wound. Only the truth can heal it. That was what Madam Fojo told us. Truth and justice. Social justice, not peace of the graveyard. Like Emko Abiola will say, we always talk about peace. The kind of peace we need is not the peace of the cemetery or the graveyard, because that place is the most peaceful place on earth. The kind of peace we are talking about is peace that is imbued with respect for one another. Peace that brings about egalitarianism, social justice, equity, and good governance. That was how MK Abiola put it. And this national anthem recognizes that we are looking for truth and justice. They must reign. Then, whether we are in peace or in battle, like during the Civil War, because this one will make sure it never comes again. In peace or in battle, honored. And this will count as gain to hand on to who? Our children. What are we handing over to them? A banner without stain. Listen to it. We didn't forget God. We decided to bring God to the epicenter of it all, because we can't do anything without him. We say, oh God of all creation, you created all of us, including me talking. If he says I should drop dead now, that's bye-bye. But I know I will live to 120 years. I will live up to 120 years. That's what Genesis chapter 6 verse 3 tells me. 120 years. All of us here will live up to 120 years. Did I hear all of us say amen? Now, he said, oh God of all creation, grant this our one request. One request. What is this one request? Say, help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed. Because the feeling of the common man, the Franz Fanon wretched of the earth, the hoi polloi, is that the big men, all of us sitting down here, have oppressed him. That's what the average person on the street thinks. So we are saying, this flag is saying, no man will be oppressed. Then we need what? And so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed. So as I wind up, sir, I sing it. Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land.
So the issue here is they are now looking for a way to, form what they think is the solution of the problem. They want that the problem of Nigeria is a national anthem and all that. So, George Okefi, please, I have not seen one of our brother, Funny Biggie, any information about him. To be honest with you, I don't have any information about him because I was not in contact with him. And I believe, just like you said now, anybody that knows him, that watches the video, will respond. Probably some of us may be in contact with him, maybe people that are close to him. I don't have any close relationship with him, so I don't. I hope that something bad has not happened to him, or maybe he's busy with other things, because to create content is not easy. To be honest with you, it's not easy at all. So maybe, I know, let alone when you are doing it under the circumstances that our people are, seeing ourselves. So a lot of things may be the issue. I don't think, let's not nurse negativity. If something strange, happened to him, I believe that France would may we have information about it, of course, because what that he's not in contact with me does not mean that he don't have other people that he's talking to. And I pray and I hope that we will hear from him. So anybody with information about Funny Biggie, please and please, because this our brother asked this question, I think yesterday or so. This is not the first time he asked the question, and that's very good. If you love your brother, you should watch his back. So that is a very good sign to hear that. So please and please, anybody with information about Funny Biggie, most of us know him. I don't think everybody do, but if you have any information about him, please and please put it in public so that people will know that he's okay. Okay, let's continue.
So Section 24 of the Constitution recognizes what we are doing today, and it is within your legislative competence to decide to amend what is the national flag, the national anthem, or other matters like that.
So my people, do you think that what Nigerians need now is to make things work is to change national anthem and and the name of the country? Do you really think that is the issue? If you do, please tell us why. Because to me, it's very very funny. Just like somebody that have a brain tumor, and that person is asking for eye drop. But the problem is brain tumor. You have an issue with a very, very difficult health challenge. The person is having it, and you don't even care to ask questions. What is wrong with your body? You keep on asking for eye drop to put a drop in your eyes. But the main problem is from brain, or someone that have heart issue, focusing on his head, just applying cream to grow his hair or her hair. Just taking medicine of different thing, different emails, believing that you are solving the problem that is not even related to what the medicine is meant for. So we cannot. I don't want to laugh. I don't want to laugh at on this. I just want to share it with you. Okay, and we have seen Biafrans being taken away simply because they are wearing Biafran attire, or have they put on a clothes that has something like Biafran flag on it. But here we have this person. It happened that the guy is a Fulani person selling I think Aki Hausa. I don't know the name of this in English, to be honest with you. I don't know. But the guy is an Hausa person wearing a clothes designed with the Biafran flag, and nobody harass him. I don't know if their brother know or maybe they have not seen him or something like that. What I mean by their brother, I mean people on Kake, because that's people protect them very very well. Let's see if you can hear what I say. What they're saying here. Okay.
Put your hand, my friend, do like this.
Oh. I think this is in Lagos. I wasn't thinking that it's an Igbo land.
Come on your hand, my friend, do like this.
I know as ability or not yourself now. I'm market I won't buy. I know one cost problem. I'm working here Biafra. I'm going to pay the one. I'm working they sell this thing. I wear Biafra clothes.
Okay, this is in Lagos, not in Enugu. In Lagos.
Come on your hand, my friend, do like
Lagos. I believe in Lagos, where that's Yoruba language there. I believe it's Lagos. The language I hear that are speaking there is Yoruba language. So my people, that is all we have for you this hour. Thank you so much for your time. I don't know if we are going to still have a later broadcast. Let's see. I can't promise on that, but let's see. Please, if you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment. Tell us what you have discussed so far, what you think about it, and let me quickly go to some of the comments here. Diana said, the heart of man is evil. What he is doing is just to distract people from Biafran freedom, but he came late. Biafra is here. That is why he went to that's why he went to US when he went to USA when he's supposed to defend Martin Morgan in court. That's another sin that he committed. And Diana said, good evening. Okay, that's your first comments here. Bless you, bro. That's the OC. And Erin said, all help PM turn up and share the message, go viral. The zoo is panicking. Kruma's girl said, greeting to all Biafran and to Kai. God bless you for your good work. God bless you too. Amen. Hit the like button and share the message, go viral. Austino TV, good evening, dear friends. Armstrong, DOS are all sold out. That is true. That's true. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate. Uchenna Victor Monday, I see your comment, and Owen Palace, of course, you are the first commentator. So, guys, thank you. Before you go, like the video if you have not, and share it if you can. See you again. Have a wonderful evening. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Turn the notification bell on so that if you have time to come back again tonight, you will be notified as well. Thank you and have a wonderful evening. Bye bye for now.